The Ripple Effect. The Centennial Galactic Exhibition was meant to be a celebration of technological harmony among the stars. Instead, it became the day the elder species realized they were no longer the undisputed masters of the cosmos. Dr. Elena Torres stood at the edge of the exhibition's grand amphitheater, watching alien dignitaries file in through shimmering portal gates. Her dark eyes reflected the ethereal light of 1,000 different species' bioluminescent formal wear. The exhibition hall itself was a marvel of Zen architecture, its living crystal walls pulsing with colors that shouldn't exist in normal spacetime. Nervous, Administrator Call's rasping voice came from behind her. The archivist species had been recording galactic history for over 50 million years. Their crystalline bodies contained the collective memory of countless civilizations. Elena adjusted the sleeve of her formal Federation uniform, careful not to disturb the gravity manipulator concealed within. Not nervous, Administrator. Just contemplating the ripples we're about to create. Ripples. Cal's crystalline form shimmered with amusement. Humanity has barely mastered interstellar travel. Your species is still considered an infant among the stars. Sometimes the youngest child sees what the elders have overlooked. Elena replied diplomatically. She checked her neural interface. 15 minutes until humanity's demonstration slot. Right on schedule. The amphitheater filled with representatives from over 10,000 civilizations. Some floated in containment fields of exotic matter, others existed as pure energy, and a few manifested as collective consciousness networks. All of them shared one thing in common. They considered humanity primitive, barely worth noting in the grand scheme of galactic politics. That was about to change. Dr. Torres, a Molodoi officer from the Russian Federation, approached. The quantum stabilizers are ready. Team is in position. Elena nodded. Commence final checks. And Anna, remember, just like we practiced. The young officer hurried away, her boots making no sound on the living crystal floor. Around them, various species were showcasing their technological achievements. Faster-than-light drives, matter replicators, primitive time dilation fields, all impressive, all carefully regulated by the Galactic Council's Technology Control Board. Your demonstration slot approaches, Dr. Torres, Cal observed. The board has allocated you the standard energy allowance for a developing civilization. I trust you'll find it sufficient for whatever modest advancement you wish to share. Elena smiled. More than sufficient, Administrator. Humanity has always believed in efficiency. The exhibition's central platform began to glow, signaling the start of Earth's demonstration. Elena walked to the center, feeling the weight of thousands of alien gazes. Many species were already turning away, expecting nothing of interest from such a young race. Honored representatives, Elena began, her voice carried perfectly by the chamber's acoustic field. Humanity thanks you for this opportunity to contribute to galactic knowledge. She removed a small device from her pocket, seemingly primitive by galactic standards. The Technology Control Board sensors would detect nothing unusual about it. They weren't designed to look for what humans had discovered. We would like to demonstrate a simple application of what we call localized gravity manipulation. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Gravity manipulation was well known, but strictly controlled. Young species weren't supposed to have access to even basic gravitational technology. Elena activated the device. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, slowly, elegantly, the laws of physics began to bend. The space around her fragmented into geometric patterns, each fragment operating under different gravitational constants. She stood at the center of a three-dimensional mandala of twisted spacetime, where up was down, forward was backward, and reality itself seemed to dance to her command. The exhibition hall erupted in chaos. Sensor systems overloaded, protective fields activated, and thousands of species began transmitting emergency signals to their homeworlds. Impossible. Cal's crystalline form vibrated with shock. Your species, the energy readings, you can't possibly. Can't we? Elena's voice carried clearly through the chaos. With a gesture, She collapsed the gravitational mandala, returning space to its normal configuration. This is but one application of our gravity manipulation technology, a simple demonstration of principle. The implications hung in the air like a thundercloud. If this was what humanity would freely demonstrate, what were they keeping hidden? The gravity manipulator had served its purpose, not as a weapon or a threat, but as a carefully calculated revelation. The elder species would now watch humanity more closely, looking for signs of other impossible advancements. They would find exactly what Earth wanted them to find: breadcrumbs leading down a path of humanity's choosing. Dr. Torres, Cowell's voice had taken on a new tone, one of cautious respect tinged with fear. Your species has violated numerous technological development protocols. The Council will need to reevaluate Earth's status immediately. Elena inclined her head gracefully. We look forward to the discussion, Administrator. Humanity has many ideas to share about the future of galactic civilization. As she left the platform, her neural interface buzzed with encrypted updates from Earth Command. Diplomatic channels were exploding with activity. Military vessels from various elder species were already being redirected to Sol's sector of space. Everything was proceeding exactly as planned. The real game was just beginning. Humanity had spent decades preparing for this moment, carefully calculating how to reshape the galaxy's power structure without firing a single shot. The gravity manipulator was just the first move, impressive enough to demand attention, but not so advanced as to provoke immediate hostile action. Through the exhibition hall's crystal walls, Elena could see the stars, ancient, constant, unchanging. But the civilization that existed among those stars was about to change forever. Humanity was about to teach the galaxy's eldest children a lesson they desperately needed to learn. Age did not equal wisdom, and the future belonged to those brave enough to imagine it differently. Back on Earth, in a secure facility deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Dr. Marcus Chen watched the exhibition's feed with satisfaction. The gravity manipulator had performed perfectly, revealing exactly enough to unsettle the galactic community without exposing humanity's true capabilities. Phase 1 complete, he noted in the facility's quantum-encrypted log. Beginning preparation for Phase 2, Operation Prometheus. Above him, hidden in subspace pockets throughout the solar system, humanity's real technological achievements waited silently. The elder species thought they had just witnessed something impossible. They had no idea what impossible truly meant. The ripple effect had begun. Soon, it would become a wave that would reshape the very foundations of galactic civilization, and humanity would be the ones guiding that wave, one carefully calculated revelation at a time. Beneath the surface, High Inspector Zach Still of the Galactic Technology Control Board had investigated thousands of civilizations over his 3-century career. None had ever made him feel so unsettled. His crystalline probe drones scattered throughout the human research facility in Nevada, their sensors probing every corner, every atom. Everything appeared exactly as it should for a young spacefaring species, almost too perfectly so. I assure you, Inspector, you have full access to all our facilities, Dr. Marcus Chen said, walking beside the floating alien investigator. His calm demeanor betrayed nothing of the elaborate dance being performed beneath the surface. Your cooperation is noted, Dr. Chen. Zach Still's translation field hummed. Though I must admit, your species' willingness to submit to investigation is unusual. Marcus smiled. We have nothing to hide, Inspector. Humanity values transparency. Another carefully crafted lie. 300 meters beneath their feet, in quantum-shielded chambers, Earth's true technological marvels continued their work, undetectable to even the most advanced alien sensors. The gravity manipulation technology you demonstrated. Zach Still probed, his sensory tendrils wavering. Our analysis suggests it should be beyond your species' capabilities for at least another millennium. Perhaps your models need updating, Marcus suggested mildly. Human scientific development has always been unpredictable. The inspector's probe drones suddenly converged on a sealed laboratory door. This chamber, what research is conducted here? Quantum field harmonics, Marcus replied smoothly. Would you like to see inside? The laboratory had been prepared weeks in advance. Every piece of equipment, every data readout, carefully calibrated to show exactly what the investigation board expected to find. Advanced technology, but nothing that would cause immediate alarm. As they entered the lab, Marcus's neural interface buzzed with an encrypted message from Elena Torres, still managing diplomatic fallout at the exhibition. Archivists requesting full technological audit. Proceeding as planned. Fascinating, Zach Still murmured, his probe scanning the quantum harmonics equipment. Your approach to field manipulation is unorthodox, almost primitive, yet achieving results that shouldn't be possible with this level of technology. Humanity has always believed in elegant solutions, Marcus said. Sometimes the simplest path yields the most profound results. The inspector's sensory tendrils twisted in what Marcus had learned to recognize as frustration. Every scan, every investigation, revealed technology that was advanced but not impossibly so. Just enough to make the elder species nervous, not enough to justify direct intervention. Dr. Chen, Zach Still said finally, are you familiar with the Kardashev civilization scale? Of course. A method of measuring a civilization's technological advancement based on energy utilization. Indeed, according to all our measurements, humanity barely registers as a Type 1 civilization. And yet, the inspector's probes swirled agitatedly, and yet you've achieved what some Type 2 civilizations still struggle with. Marcus kept his expression neutral. Perhaps the scale needs revaluation. In her office at the Galactic exhibition, Elena Torres received another priority alert. The archivist's deep space sensors had detected unusual energy signatures throughout Earth's solar system. Right on schedule. She opened a secure channel to Marcus. They've noticed the quantum shadows. Proceed to Phase 3. Confirmed, Marcus replied through their neural link. Time to let them find something interesting. Back in the Nevada facility, Marcus led Inspector Zach Still to a new section. There is one other project you might find intriguing, he said, knowing the inspector's probes had already detected the carefully leaked energy signatures. The sealed doors opened to reveal a massive chamber filled with what appeared to be primitive attempts at dimensional folding technology. The equipment was deliberately flawed, designed to fail in specific, traceable ways. This is highly restricted technology, Zach Still said sharply. Your species shouldn't even be aware of its theoretical foundations. As I said, Inspector, humanity values exploration. Sometimes that leads us down unexpected paths. The inspector's probes went into overdrive, analyzing every aspect of the failed experiments. They would find exactly what Earth wanted them to find. Traces of humanity's apparent attempts to breach dimensional barriers, all unsuccessful, all pointing to capabilities that should be centuries beyond their reach. The Council will need to be informed of this immediately, Zach Still declared. These experiments, combined with your gravity manipulation technology, this level of advancement is unprecedented. We welcome any insights the Council might share, Marcus said diplomatically. Humanity has always valued learning from our galactic neighbors. As the inspector hurried away to make his report, Marcus allowed himself a small smile. The pieces were falling into place. The elder species would now be convinced that humanity was on the verge of dimensional folding technology, a capability they would find deeply threatening. But they wouldn't attack. Not yet. Instead, they would watch, wait, and investigate further, finding exactly what humanity wanted them to find, each discovery leading them deeper into a carefully constructed narrative. In orbit above Earth, cloaked in subspace fields beyond even the elder species' ability to detect, humanity's true technological achievements continued their silent work. The dimensional folding experiments below were primitive toys compared to what they had already achieved. Elena's voice whispered through Marcus's neural interface. The archivists are calling an emergency council session. They're starting to see the pattern we created. Good, Marcus replied. Time for them to realize that everything they've discovered so far has been exactly what we wanted them to find. The question is, will they be wise enough to understand why? The game of shadows and revelations continued. Humanity danced on the edge of multiple technological frontiers, revealing just enough to keep the elder species off balance, never enough to provoke direct confrontation. Because the real secret wasn't the technology itself, it was humanity's understanding of how to use it. Not as a weapon, not as a threat, but as a key to unlock the future they envisioned for the galaxy. A future where age and tradition didn't dictate the path of progress. A future they were carefully, methodically, bringing into reality. One calculated revelation at a time. Breaking point. The Karen battle fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system, their crystalline ships casting prismatic shadows across the void. Admiral Vexthor stood on his command deck, his bioluminescent patterns pulsing with anticipation. The humans had been allowed to progress unchecked for too long. No response from the system defense grid, his sensor officer reported. Primitive technology, as expected. Vexthor's patterns shifted to smug satisfaction. The Elder Council debates while we act. Humanity's advancement must be contained before they destabilize the galactic order. In her office beneath Mount Fuji, Elena Torres watched the Karen fleet's approach on quantum-entangled displays. Her expression remained calm as she opened a neural link to the Earth Defense Network. They took the bait, she transmitted to Marcus Chen, exactly as projected. Aggressive action against an emerging civilization. Marcus replied, his thoughts tinged with amusement. The Karen are about to learn why the ancient laws exist, and not for the reasons they think. The Karen fleet moved closer to Earth's orbit, their sensors probing for defensive installations. They found nothing but basic satellite networks and primitive orbital platforms. Everything appeared exactly as it should for a Type 1 civilization. Launch containment protocols. Admiral Vexthor commanded. Show these humans the consequence of overreaching their place in the cosmic order. The crystalline ships began deploying their energy nets, designed to isolate Earth from the rest of spacetime. Standard procedure for containing an upstart civilization. Elena watched the nets unfold, their crystalline matrices spreading like frozen lightning across the sky. She waited until they were fully deployed before sending a simple neural command. Initiate Protocol Omega. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then reality itself appeared to hiccup. On the Karen flagship, alarms screamed to life. Admiral. The sensor officer's bioluminescence flashed with panic. The containment nets, they're being reversed. Vexthor watched in disbelief as the energy nets began flowing backward, wrapping around his own ships instead of the Earth. Impossible. The technology required for such a maneuver was beyond even the eldest civilizations. Full power to shields, he commanded. Launch temporal disruptors. But before his ships could act, space itself seemed to fold around them. The mighty Karen fleet found itself trapped in a bubble of altered physics, their advanced weapons and drives reduced to useless crystalline art. Elena's voice echoed through every ship's communication system, translated perfectly into the Karen language. Admiral Vexthor. Humanity appreciates this opportunity to demonstrate why containment protocols were rendered obsolete 10,000 years ago. Impossible. Vexthor's patterns flashed with rage and fear. Your species is barely space-capable. Our sensors confirmed. Your sensors found exactly what we wanted them to find. Elena interrupted smoothly. Just as the Technology Control Board's investigations revealed exactly what we chose to show them. In orbital installations previously hidden in dimensional pockets throughout the solar system, humanity's true defensive systems hummed to life. Not weapons. Humanity had evolved beyond such crude tools, but something far more sophisticated. Look around you, Admiral, Elena continued. Notice how your ships remain completely undamaged. Notice how your crews are perfectly safe. This isn't an attack, it's a demonstration. Marcus Chen's voice joined the transmission. Your containment protocols are based on technology that was cutting-edge 50,000 years ago. Humanity surpassed that level of understanding before we left our atmosphere. On the Karen flagship's command deck, Vex Thor watched helplessly as his mighty fleet hung suspended in space, trapped in a field of altered physics that his best scientists couldn't even begin to understand. "Why?" he demanded. "If you possess such power, why reveal yourselves in such a limited way? Why allow investigations and provocations?" "Because, Admiral," Elena replied, "humanity's goal isn't dominance. It's understanding. We needed the elder species to learn something important about themselves." "And what lesson would that be?" Vex Thor's patterns pulsed with barely contained fury. "That age doesn't equal wisdom. That progress doesn't follow a predetermined path. And most importantly, that strength isn't measured by the ability to destroy or contain, but by the wisdom to know when not to." With another subtle manipulation of spacetime, the Karen fleet found itself free. Their sensors were working again, but now they detected something else. Glimpses of technological marvels throughout the solar system that defied comprehension. "You're free to leave, Admiral," Marcus said, "or free to attack again, if you wish. But I suggest you consider what it means that we showed you only peaceful applications of our technology, even when defending ourselves." Vex Thor's patterns shifted through a complex series of emotions. Finally, they settled into something unexpected: respect. "The Karen Dominion has existed for 200,000 years, he said slowly. Perhaps it is time we learned some new perspectives." As the Karen fleet retreated, Elena and Marcus shared a knowing look through their neural interface. The confrontation had played out exactly as planned. Another carefully calculated revelation in humanity's long game. "The archivists will receive the Karen's report within hours," Marcus noted. "Their reaction should be interesting." Elena smiled. "They'll finally begin to understand. The technology isn't the point. It never was. The point is how we choose to use it." Throughout the solar system, humanity's hidden marvels continued their quiet work. The elder species were beginning to see beneath the surface, but they still hadn't glimpsed the true depths of human achievement. More importantly, they were starting to ask the right questions, not about the technology itself, but about the philosophy behind its use. The breaking point had been reached, not of conflict, but of understanding. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what humanity had planned all along. The truth emerges. The archivist's grand repository was considered the most secure facility in the galaxy. Its crystalline archives held the accumulated knowledge of 1,000,000 civilizations across billions of years. Yet today, its halls trembled with unprecedented activity. Administrator Call's crystalline form pulsed with agitation as they reviewed the Karen fleet's sensor logs for the 100th time. "Impossible," they whispered, though they had long since accepted that humans had redefined that word. "Not impossible, Administrator," Elena Torres said quietly. "Simply unexpected." Call hadn't heard her enter. The human woman stood in the doorway of the analysis chamber, her presence somehow both respectful and utterly confident. Behind her, Marcus Chen waited silently. "You requested this meeting," Call said, their crystalline form refracting light in patterns of wariness. "The Council is in chaos after the Karen incident. Many are calling for more direct action against Earth, which is why it's time for you to understand what you're actually dealing with," Elena replied. She placed a small quantum crystal on the analysis pedestal. "This contains the truth about humanity's advancement. The real truth." The crystal began to glow, projecting a holographic display that filled the chamber. Call's consciousness expanded in shock as they processed the data streaming before them. "This is," their voice faltered. "This can't be." "Digital consciousness transfer," Marcus confirmed. "Achieved 50 years ago. Perfect preservation and transmission of human consciousness across any distance, through any medium." The displays showed vast networks of quantum processors, each holding thousands of human minds in perfect digital harmony, not trapped or uploaded, but existing in a state of fluid transition between organic and digital form. Every human on Earth has a digital backup, Elena explained. Every child is born with the ability to shift their consciousness between physical and digital states at will. Death, as the galaxy understands it, is optional for us now. Cal's form flickered with profound disturbance. But your physical forms, your cities, everything we've investigated, are still very real, Marcus assured them. We didn't abandon our bodies. We transcended their limitations while keeping their benefits. Humanity exists in both states simultaneously, each enhancing the other. The displays shifted, showing vast digital realms where human consciousness explored realities beyond physical limitation. Networks of minds working in perfect concert, accelerating scientific understanding beyond anything possible in pure physical form. This is why your advancement seemed impossible, Cal realized. Your entire species has been operating with computational power beyond our comprehension. Elena nodded. Every human achievement you've witnessed was the product of minds operating in both physical and digital states. The gravity manipulation technology, the dimensional physics, they were simply physical expressions of understanding gained through digital evolution. Why reveal this now? Cal demanded. Why show us your true capability? Because the galaxy is approaching a crossroads, Marcus said. The elder species' fear of advancement, their need to control and contain. It's leading toward stagnation. The universe holds too much wonder for intelligence to remain trapped by fear. Helena stepped forward, her expression gentle but firm. We're revealing this not as a threat, but as an invitation. Humanity has found a path beyond the traditional limits of physical evolution. We want to share it. The displays shifted again, showing preliminary studies on adapting the digital consciousness technology for other species. The research was thorough, considering the unique neural patterns of every known sapient race. You want to uplift the entire galaxy. Cal's form pulsed with a mixture of horror and fascination. We want to offer a choice, Elena corrected. Each species, each individual, free to choose their own path of advancement. No forced evolution, no technological suppression, just open exchange of knowledge and possibility. Cal absorbed the data in silence. The implications were staggering. If what they were seeing was true, humanity hadn't just surpassed the elder species technologically, they had fundamentally altered the nature of conscious existence. The Council will resist, they said finally. This level of advancement, it challenges everything we've built our civilization upon. Change always does, Marcus replied. But consider this. Humanity achieved this advancement while maintaining our connection to physical existence. We didn't lose ourselves in digital transcendence. We found a balance. Helena touched the quantum crystal, and new data streams appeared. We've prepared detailed proposals for gradually introducing this technology throughout the galaxy. Safeguards, ethical frameworks, transition protocols, everything needed to ensure stable adoption. You've thought of everything, Cal observed. We've had 50 years to prepare for this moment. Elena smiled. Every revelation, every demonstration, was leading to this. The galaxy is ready for its next evolutionary step. The only question is, will the elder species help guide that evolution, or try to prevent it? In the depths of the repository, ancient data crystals hummed with activity as they absorbed and analyzed the human data. The truth was out now, rippling through the galaxy's information networks at quantum speeds. Humanity hadn't just advanced beyond expectations, they had charted a course for the entire galaxy's future. A future where consciousness itself could evolve beyond its traditional bounds, while maintaining its essential connection to physical reality. The elder species would have to make a choice: adapt to this new paradigm, or be left behind by the tide of advancement they had fought so long to control. And in the digital realms where human consciousness danced between states of being, new possibilities were already taking shape. The galaxy's next chapter was about to begin. The truth had emerged, and nothing would ever be the same again. New Dawn. 1 year after humanity's revelation of digital consciousness technology, the Great Hall of Convergence floated in Earth's orbit, its crystalline architecture blending seamlessly with the quantum processors that powered it. The structure itself was a testament to the new era, designed by human digital consciousness, built by elder species matter manipulation, and inhabited by beings who existed in both physical and digital states. Elena Torres stood at the observation deck, her consciousness simultaneously present in both her physical form and the station's digital matrix. Below, Earth shimmered like a blue jewel, its cities now visibly different as humanity's true technology emerged from hiding. The 100,000th successful consciousness transfer was completed today, Marcus Chen said, approaching both physically and digitally. In the digital realm, their consciousness interacted in ways physical beings could barely comprehend. The Arctians have adapted to the technology even better than we projected. They always were the most progressive of the elder species, Elena replied. Their crystalline neural structure made the transition almost intuitive. The hall's quantum displays showed real-time data from across the galaxy. Thousands of worlds were in various stages of adopting human consciousness technology, each adapting it to their own unique biology and culture. It wasn't a uniform process, exactly as humanity had intended. Administrator Call materialized nearby, their crystalline form now integrated with digital systems in ways that would have been impossible a year ago. The Council of Elders has finished their latest review, they announced. The vote was unanimous. The Technology Control Board is to be formally dissolved. Elena smiled and replaced with the Galactic Technology Exchange, Cal confirmed. No more suppression, no more artificial limits on advancement, just cooperative development and ethical oversight. Through the station's digital infrastructure, Elena could sense the profound changes rippling through galactic society. Species that had been stagnant for millions of years were awakening to new possibilities. Young civilizations were being welcomed into galactic society as equals, their fresh perspectives valued rather than constrained. There's something you should see, Marcus said, transmitting coordinates through their neural link. The Karen have completed their first major project using the new technology. The observation deck's view shifted, focusing on a distant sector of space. There, hanging in the void, was something that defied traditional physics, a massive structure that existed simultaneously in physical and digital space, allowing consciousness to flow freely between states of being. They're calling it the Bridge of Understanding, Cal explained, their tone carrying both awe and amusement. Quite a change from their attempted invasion of Earth. The greatest warriors are often the ones most ready to embrace peace, once they understand the true nature of strength, Elena observed. The station's sensors detected a new arrival, a ship unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. Its hull was composed of both matter and consciousness, piloted by beings who existed in multiple states simultaneously. The first of the new generation of galactic explorers. The pioneers are ready, Marcus announced. The first joint human-elder species expedition to intergalactic space. Elena's consciousness expanded through the station's systems, touching briefly on the minds of the volunteer explorers. They were a mix of species, human, Arctian, Karen, and others, all existing in the new dual state of being that humanity had introduced to the galaxy. Remarkable, Cal mused. A year ago, the thought of different species sharing consciousness would have been considered abhorrent. Now it's becoming the foundation of our future. The displays showed similar progress across every sector of known space. Species that had been locked in ancient rivalries were now sharing consciousness space, gaining direct understanding of each other's perspectives. Technological advancement was accelerating, but in a controlled ethical manner that preserved the essential nature of each civilization. We've received the first transmission from the Andromeda probe, Marcus reported. The digital consciousness network is maintaining coherence even at intergalactic distances. We can explore other galaxies without losing our connection to home. Delina watched as more ships arrived, each carrying beings who had chosen to embrace the new paradigm. Not everyone had accepted the change. Some species had chosen to maintain their traditional forms of existence. That too was part of humanity's plan. True advancement couldn't be forced. It had to be chosen. The archivists have finished their preliminary analysis of human history, Cal said. They've concluded that your species' greatest achievement wasn't the technology itself. Oh, Elena's consciousness rippled with amusement. And what was it? Your understanding of when to reveal it. How to guide an entire galaxy toward advancement without causing collapse or conflict. The technology was revolutionary, but your methods of implementing it. Cal's form shimmered with respect. That was truly unprecedented. The Great Hall hummed with activity as more beings arrived for the day's historic event, the formal establishment of the new Galactic Covenant. Not a set of restrictions like the old Council's laws, but a framework for cooperative advancement that protected both traditional and transcendent forms of existence. It's time, Marcus said, his consciousness connecting with the station's broadcast network. Delina stepped onto the central platform, her presence radiating through both physical and digital space. Representatives from 10,000 species watched in both forms of existence as she prepared to speak. A year ago, humanity revealed that we had found a way to transcend traditional consciousness, she began. Today, we take the next step together. Not as elder or younger species, not as physical or digital beings, but as a galaxy united in the pursuit of understanding. The station's quantum processors hummed as consciousness flowed freely between all present beings. The barriers between species, between physical and digital, between past and future, all became permeable. Not erased, but transformed into bridges rather than walls. The dawn of our new era begins not with a single change, but with an endless series of choices, Elena continued. Each civilization, each being, free to choose their path while remaining connected to the whole. This is humanity's gift to the galaxy. Not the technology itself, but the understanding that true advancement comes from unity and diversity. As she spoke, the Great Hall's crystalline walls pulsed with patterns of light that existed in both physical and digital space. The patterns told the story of the past year, how humanity's carefully orchestrated revelations had guided the galaxy away from stagnation and toward a future of unlimited potential. The new dawn had arrived, and it was more brilliant than anyone could have imagined.